Hey, this is Ryan Phillips here. Just finished playing in the National Open. Just completed yesterday. Pretty successful tournament for myself. Ended up tying for seventh in the under 2000 division with 4.5 out of 6. So I had 3 wins and 3 draws. So that was good to get some prize money, which I was happy about. I like to go over some of my games, but I wanted to recap the tournament a little bit. It looks like the Las Vegas players had a pretty good showing this tournament. It didn't look like any of us got into like the upper echelons of our section, but we all were very competitive. It looked like we were all in contention. It looked like with 1 or 2 rounds to go. So I feel like if we keep knocking on the door, we'll have some breakthroughs like Len had last year. Off the top of my head, I believe the Las Vegas players with there are some other Nevada players whose names I had never seen before, so I'm not sure if they're from Las Vegas or where they're from, but I don't know who they are. But in the under 2200 section, it looked like we had Jeff Gallegos with 4 out of 6, and Jeff had 4 out of 5, so the last round was pretty big for him. So I felt bad for Jeff that the game didn't go the way he wanted, obviously. And then Stephen Barbary had 3.5 out of 6, I believe, or was it? Yeah, 3.5 out of 6, I believe. So he had a nice tournament as well. In my section, I had a plus score with 4.5 out of 6. Todd Amata, who I unfortunately had to play in the last round and ended up winning a pretty crazy game, had 3.5 out of 6. And then Cameron Patterson had 3.5 out of 6 also for a plus score. Under 1800, Jonathan Zavala had a really nice tournament with 4.5 out of 6 also to get some prize money. So I was happy for him. I know he lost his first round, Jonathan, and then I battled back for 4.5 out of his last 5, which is that's a pretty awesome recovery. I believe I'm forgetting somebody in his section, but also in my section I forgot to mention Jose Ramirez had 4 out of 6, and Paco had 3.5 out of 6. So they both have plus scores, and the National Open is really nice. When you have a plus score, they give you a $50 gift card for the chess shop, and the items are, I think, fairly priced at the gift shop. So you get pretty good, you get pretty cool stuff for $50. I got a demo board for my room, which been wanting to get for a while. I got a silicon board, which makes me think of breast implants when I'm playing chess now. And I also got a pocket set for $5, which I didn't like too much, so I ended up just giving that away. Already, I don't know, it seemed like pretty cheap quality to me. But anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of good showings. Under 1600, Chris Reynolds had a very nice tournament. I believe he had 4 out of 5 going to last round, I believe. So he had a good chance for some serious money. I don't know. It's just the experience is tough. I'm not sure like if our competitors in those games if the competitors had more experience, but those last round games are real tough, and the more opportunities you give yourself in those situations, the more you'll break through. Vivian also had a nice tournament, and Alex. I think it's Steiger. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. Also had a nice tournament as well. Prior to the National Open, the main tournament, I played in the Game in 10 Thursday night, so the day before the main event started. And last year I didn't play so well in the National Open. I tied for first in the Game in 10, and I thought I didn't want to like use it make an excuse, but I thought the Game in 10 kind of tired me out. So I was a little hesitant to play this year, but I thought I don't know. It seemed like a good opportunity to make some money. I don't know. I thought the under 2100 prize was attainable, and there wasn't too many people in that section. And they expanded the tournament from 6 to 8 rounds this year, and I ended up getting 5 out of 8, which I thought going into the tournament would be good enough for at least a tie for first in my section, which it was. So I tied for first in the under 2100 in the Game in 10. I was a little disappointed in this last round. The person I ended up drawing with or tying for the prize money, his opponent forfeited the game by not showing up. Nick Raptis, who's a 2400 player, and I saw him a couple of times. Nick Raptis. I kept thinking if I should approach him just to like ask him what the deal was, but I never. I don't know. I guess I just figured I'd keep my mouth shut. But yeah, I guess I should also look at the positive. Perhaps if he withdraws from the tournament like he should have done, I might get paired against somebody else and lose and not make any money. So things could have turned out differently. So I have to look at the bright side as well. The last round was very interesting in that game. I ended up dropping a queen in the opening, queen for a bishop. I got my queen trapped with a couple of not so good moves. But I'm dead lost, of course. I was dead lost in the position. But I noticed that my minor pieces and my rooks were slightly more active than his pieces, and his queen wasn't really in that great of an attacking position. So I was able to slowly kind of improve my position, which is surprising because usually the side with the queen should be able to improve their position more than the side without their queen. But somehow I was able to keep like maneuvering my pieces and getting some attacks on his king, and I guess in a 10-minute game, I eventually just kind of collapsed. So that was nice. And then I was joking with Friday before the tournament that I wanted to go for the trifecta of winning the game in 10, my section at least, the National Open main event, and then the Blitz tournament. So I played in the Blitz tournament, which was divided into under 1900 and anything above 1900 was the Open, or of course you could register for the Open even if you were under 1900. That tournament was tough. I really enjoy playing Blitz over the board, but I'm not sure if I'm going to play another Blitz tournament because it's really hard to really follow the rules when people are down. Even the GMs were arguing with each other. When you get down to like less than a minute, pretty much anything goes. Who knows if people are even making legal moves at that point? I know John Daniel Bryan and Cobian had a very interesting kind of spat, I guess you could say. It looked like a Cobian was kind of holding the clock down, so basically none of his time was ticking down. But at the same time, I thought maybe I don't want to say anything negative about GMs and IMs, and I think John Daniel Bryan's an IM already. But maybe like John Daniel Bryan was making illegal or hitting the clock, when it was on Cobian's time. So maybe that's why Cobian held the clock down. So it's really hard to say like who was in the right or who was in the wrong in that kind of setting. But anyway, the National Open is definitely like one of my favorite tournaments every year. They're really nice to the players. The board's always set up for you. They do a lot of nice little perks for you after the sixth round. In the sixth round, whoever wins the game gets to keep the board, and in case of draw, the board will go to black, so you get the board in pieces for free. Of course, you're paying the entry, but it's just nice perks. After the sixth round, they had a little room. They gave like snacks and stuff to the players, which I'd never seen at a tournament. They were pretty nice little snacks they had. I know at the Reno Open, they have like pastries and stuff for breakfast. So I guess there's other tournaments that do like similar stuff, but they really take care of you. I think you have a question, you ask one of the TDs. They're always very helpful. If they don't know the answer, they're usually honest with you and kind of direct you to who might know the answer. So they always kind of go out of their way to, make you feel nice at the tournament, which which as a player makes you want to come back. Yeah, I think as for my playing the tournament, just to kind of sum up the recap, I think it was really good actually, especially days 1 and 2. First 2 rounds I won in a combined 46 moves, so the first day it went about as well as I could have hoped for. Day 2 I thought I played really well. Games 3 and 4 I had significant advantages. I couldn't convert unfortunately, and I drew both my games. Day 3 I think I was a little bit lucky. Round 5 I played against the Grand Prix attack, and I thought I got a little bit. I actually played it well, which is a surprise. I normally don't play against the Grand Prix attack too well, but I think I'm starting to kind of learn some of the nuances. So I got a good position, and then I kind of came up with this really slow night maneuvering plan, which basically gave away all my advantage and kind of put me in some risk. Then we got into kind of an opposite color bishop type middle game, and nothing was really. He was starting to gain a little bit of initiative, I thought maybe, but not too much. I don't know. I was starting to get like a little worried, but not too worried. And then we kind of agreed to a draw. And then round 6 against Todd, I was playing a real brilliant game, I thought. And then I just missed a simple capture. It was a capture with checks. Hard to believe I missed it. Basically what ended up happening is I made a really rookie mistake. Todd got into severe time pressure. He was probably under 5 minutes to go with about 7, 8 moves to go. And I had about 50 minutes or so. And I just made the real rookie mistake of playing faster in his time pressure instead of taking my time, and then nearly cost me the game. Todd could have had perpetual whenever he wanted, and he definitely had a win after I made the severe blunder. Before that, I think I definitely had a winning position, and it was a real brilliant game. So I was pretty upset that I missed the obvious move. But then anyway, Todd kind of he tried to get me in some checkmating patterns, which they were very close. I thought I was close to being made several times. Somehow I was able to fight back, and then I don't know exactly where Todd went wrong, but he was in severe time pressure in the second time control, so he was down to, I think he was down to less than a minute in the second time control, and he missed something. I can't recall offhand what he missed, and I was able to kind of set up a mating net and win a very tough game. And I didn't feel like I deserved to win based on the huge blunder, but prior to the blunder, I felt like I deserved to win. So it was kind of a seesaw game, and that's definitely an area of my chess I need to improve, not making significant blunders in these mop-up positions, like rounds 3 and 4. If you look through the games, I definitely should have won those. And I also wanted to note that I will be putting I'm going to post the games on Facebook via chess.com because I know 6 videos is a lot to watch, of course. Other notes. I'm just really glad I played in the chess tournament. It was super hot this weekend, and it was nice to sit in an air-conditioned room for 3 days. It was also kind of, I don't know, I guess chess players are, in my perspective, they seem to get accused of not keeping things in perspective maybe, but for me, actually getting away from like the media, the news, Facebook, everything for 3 days was like a fresh, breath of fresh air. I really felt very peaceful this tournament, for lack of a better word, and I was just real happy to get away from everything. I think my preparation as far as like my exercise routine, Friday night I started swimming at a local community pool. Really helped a lot. I didn't feel tired at all this tournament, except for the 4th round I felt pretty tired. The break in between the 3rd and 4th round I was tired. Other than that though, I felt pretty wide awake the whole tournament. So my preparation I think was a huge success, and I think I'm hopefully going to continue swimming. My long-term goals were actually, I was hoping to win this tournament, and I was going to play in the World Open in Washington D.C. I think that probably won't happen. It was kind of contingent on me winning this tournament. I was going to strongly consider, and I think I probably would have played. But I think everything works out okay, because I know there's going to be a great tournament that Juan's running at the Palazzo. The Mind Games is sponsoring a tournament for us, which should be really awesome. So I guess things kind of work out okay. I'm glad I have this other tournament to play in. But it would have been nice to go to the World Open. If I had won the first prize of like $3,500, I definitely would have made the investment in myself to go out there and see if I could try to win that tournament as well. As for my chess goals in the future, I'm kind of at a crossroads, I guess. I don't know. I'm pretty confused about what I'm trying to accomplish in chess moving forward. I know if I want to get significantly better, I'll have to put a lot of time into the game. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the best use of my time. Like, I definitely will obviously play chess a lot, but I like to keep a balance, of course, in life. And I noticed that the players that are getting excellent results, I hear they're playing like 8 hours a day, and obviously that's not something I'm interested in at all. So I don't know what to do. Like, I guess my immediate goal is to try to prepare for the North American Open and see if I can win that in December. But after that, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure where to go. I mean, the opening preparation is getting pretty tough in these tournaments, and I'm seeing the same ideas like over and over through the years. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if the game is kind of getting to the point where it's getting kind of it's kind of getting redundant. I'm still enjoying playing a lot, but the games are kind of getting repetitive a little bit, because maybe that's a sign I should like change up my openings more or something to kind of try to get more creativity in my game. But I don't want to be playing Sicilian defense for the next 10 years, although I guess I did that for the prior 10 years. So I'm kind of at a crossroads what I want to do with chess from here on out, and I guess life in general, you could say. So it was a fun tournament though. I think my 15 minutes will be up, so my next video, I'm going to combine it with this and get to the game. I think it should cut me off here probably any second. Oh no, I still have about a minute and a half to go. I'm looking at the counter over here, which is 15 minutes, but the video time is only 13 and a half. Alright, so anyway, so I'll get to the game. In the tournament, every opening I guess I was pretty familiar with. All the games were E4 games, which was a surprise. After my first 2 games on Friday, I had this like strong premonition I was going to have to play Grunfeld in round 3 as black. So I studied the Grunfeld for about 35-40 minutes, just securing my lines. But that never occurred. So it was 5 Sicilians and 1 E4, E5 game where I played the Ponziani opening, and I had a very good position, only to kind of squander that advantage. So the first round I was black against a lower rated player, Samuel Katagi, and I think this is preferable in a tournament, in my opinion, to get black against a lower rated player in the first round, because it gives you a good opportunity to win and then have white the next round. So I prefer kind of things to go this way. So the game is a Sicilian, E4, C5, knight F3, D6, D4, C takes, knight F6, knight C3, A6, and then I don't know if I'm having like premonitions just by playing the same. I don't know if I'm playing like the same type of opponent, if I can kind of get a feeling just based on like their style, like the way they're sitting at the board. But I just yeah, I just knew he played bishop e2 in this position. I'm not sure how exactly. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm like stereotyping my opponents. I don't know what's going on, but I just had a feeling he wasn't going to play bishop g5. He didn't look like he played bishop c4. I thought maybe he played the English attack with bishop e3, but um, I don't know. It seems like in these tournaments that what you notice with the lower rated players, at least I've noticed, is like they seem a little scared of you, maybe for no reason. So bishop e2 is just like kind of a quiet development move. So maybe he thought I had like fantastic preparation or something, so he didn't want to like go into a real sharp line. I know I've kind of talked already for about 15 minutes in the recap, so I don't want to go too much sidelines. But I will say in the game, in the Blitz game, I got to play Daniel Naroditsky, and he played an interesting line against me that I had never seen before in the Najdorf. So I kind of want to look at that real quick, and maybe this will help people. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't show this because I plan on playing this. It looked pretty good. So I've seen this before. So I guess queen e2 is the best move. So I'm already out of my theory. So I play queen f3, which I guess is a mistake. And then h6. Bishop here. Play g5. So he sacks the pawn here. So this was an interesting game already. I think he played queen c5. And I think I got a little careful here. It was a blitz game, so I can't really be too critical. I mean, I don't really have much time to really deeply analyze the position. I'm sure he knows it well. I think I played probably a mistake with bishop e3. And then and this was the opening. So I actually have pretty decent position. And then he managed to outplay me from here. But it looks like my position is actually fine. I think both the games against him, it was like my first round of blitz. I was pretty fresh. I think I played really well against him both games. It was the rest of the rounds I played pretty terrible in the blitz tournament, but I didn't, it happens. All right, anyway, I'm not going to get sidetracked anymore. Sorry, I know it's tough to follow if I'm showing different games all the time. All right, so bishop e2 was the main line. And then I always play e5 here. I'm thinking about not switching, but playing e6 on occasion also. It's kind of, like I said, I'm not trying to play the same game of chess every day for the rest of my life. So I should probably, I don't want to, maybe even g6, go for a dragon formation where bishop e2 is not really that sharp as an idea in the future also. So e5 though is what I'm pretty comfortable with. So I think that's another thing that I'm going to need to do if I want to improve in chess is get out of my comfort zone. I think I also learned a lot about myself in this tournament. I think anytime there was some kind of threat by my opponent, I think I got like overly cautious. Like, oh, this threat's going to be a real strong threat. Like sometimes I would take precautions to get out of the way of a check, for example. But even if I allow the check, it's not dangerous at all. So I think I was reading a quote by some player, I can't remember who said, just the sign of a kind of a good player is that you're not overreacting to threats. I know Capablanca said like economy is a force. You don't want to over defend something. You want to defend with the minimum amount. And I think that applies to checks and all kinds of attacking ideas. If the threat isn't strong, where it doesn't really affect your position, it doesn't cause you any problems, then you shouldn't spend time trying to stop your opponent from doing that. And I think I was just a little too cautious in this tournament. Not sure if it was because I view this as a very important tournament, or just just kind of my play in general is something that needs improvement. But I think I learned a lot about myself and my play. Just I can't panic at the first sign of adversity. I guess that's the best way of putting it I can think of at the moment. Yeah, I think that's going to make me a lot better player, just learning that lesson. So knight b3. And then I usually play bishop e6. I know bishop e7 is a lot more common, just castle, but I like playing bishop e6. I know, I think there's supposed to be a way to exploit this, not to get like a significant advantage, but like a slightly better position than after bishop e7. But I can't really remember the line offhand. I know I was reading my 60 memorable games, and Fischer talks about this opening a lot. He actually, was debating between bishop e6 and bishop e7 himself. And then here my opponent played bishop g5, which I see this a lot around this 1800 level, and I don't really like this move very much. The idea, of course, is to get the d5 square, but I don't think it's I don't think it quite works. So I see this move a lot. 18 to 1900 level players for some reason, and I don't know. I just don't really like the harmony of the pieces with the bishop on g5 and the bishop on e2. They don't work together that well, and it seems like this bishop might be given up. So I don't know. I don't care for this move. So I just developed knight b to d7, and I don't think I have to worry about knight d5 here. Computer's recommending bishop e7, but I think I could even just take is probably fine. Yeah, I mean I think that's okay. And even though this dark square bishop might not be that great at the moment with the pawns on e5 and d6, you don't want the dark square bishop on the same color as your center pawns. I think I'm okay. I mean, I think I could castle and could always trade it off at some point. Looks like even knight e4 is an idea, perhaps. So that's why I guess computers probably recommend bishop e3, get out the same diagonal as my dark square bishop, because I think if the dark square bishops get traded off, I don't think this bishop on e2 is particularly strong, and I think my knight might actually even be slightly better than the bishop on e2 in this position, but I'm not 100% sure. So anyway, knight d5 wasn't played. He played f4, which I also thought this was a little premature. I know that from my understanding of this opening that f4 is kind of a double-edged move. It's an aggressive move, of course, but at the same time it weakens the e4 pawn significantly because there's no pawns that will be able to protect the e4 pawn anymore. So this is a source of problems for white perhaps in later stages of the game. So the computer's showing h6 as being the best move. I didn't play this move, unfortunately. I thought queen c7 was like an automatic move, so that's a mistaken thinking, of course, to think anything's automatic. But I thought that this is the move that I normally see here, with the idea of after f5 just playing bishop c4. But the computer likes this position a little bit more for white than just playing h6. So queen c7, I guess you could call a slight inaccuracy, but nothing too severe. So white castled, and then I wanted to play bishop e7, which the computer's showing is fine, but I was worried about I thought, if I remember correctly in the game, I thought that knight d5 might be playable here. And I think the idea was after this, you don't take here, because then the knight takes back, of course. So he takes d5, and I was worried about, I was worried about these lines. So it looks like bishop takes g5 is a significant mistake. Okay, so computer's on bishop f5 as being okay, but I didn't like the looks of this line either. I thought that f takes e5 might be good here. But apparently, computer's showing this as being okay, or good for black. So I missed something in my analysis in my head. I'm not sure which move I missed exactly. But I thought that I didn't need to allow this. So I thought playing h6 was a little bit more precise. I think the idea is that after bishop h4 was played in the game, I think that yeah, I mean now I just have I think I have this move, right? And I assess this as being good for black. All the computers are showing it as being pretty even, but I figured being up a pawn couldn't hurt. And then of course it's but it's an opposite color bishop endgame, so maybe there's not. Maybe this isn't as good for black as I assessed during the game. My king's a little exposed at the moment, but I think I should be able to castle next move, no problem. I don't know. Maybe the half open f file gives white some enduring pressure, but this knight on e5 looks like it's going to be here for a while, and that's always providing adequate protection to f7, and could potentially be used as an offensive piece later. So, yeah, I thought h6 was a good move to eliminate this knight d5 ideas. Then after my opponent retreated bishop h4, I actually never considered this move, which I don't know why. I think like I said, I'm trying to make a conscientious decision to play faster, but maybe I'm playing too fast. So of course the idea is that rook takes f4 immediately just loses to g5. Although even here the computer's not showing too much of an advantage for black. I thought it'd be a little bit more than this, to be honest. Um, but he can interpose this move. Bishop takes f6. Knight takes f6. And then pure showing queen d4. So these queen centralizing moves are interesting to me. I'm discovering, I'm learning them more and more as I get better at chess. This is kind of my plan now. It's very simple. Just develop my pieces and centralize my queen, and that seems to be my strategy at this level, and it seems to be the strategy at most levels. If you could develop a piece and get your queen centralized, you usually have a pretty good position. So that's kind of the goal I've been striving for in my games. Anyway, though, so I didn't play e takes f4, which I probably should have considered. Like I said, I didn't even consider it, which is a big mistake. So I played bishop e7. And then my opponent played f5 here. Bishop c4. And then my opponent played a pretty illogical move. So I think in this tournament I missed a lot of moves, just totally overlooked them that were good. This rook f3 move I didn't consider, but this is a move you don't need to consider because it's not a very good move, and you shouldn't. I don't know. I've read some quotes that they say, well, like the master technician or if you want to get good at tactics, you have to study every move on the board. But I think in a tournament setting and practically, I mean, it's not correspondence chess. I don't have to think about moves like rook f3. If my opponent plays rook f3, I'll analyze the position after replace it. But that's not a move I need to consider. So he played rook f3, which I'm not really sure what the idea behind this move was. I thought this was pretty significant. I don't know, I think it was just kind of a wasted move. Then I played b5. My opponent played knight d2, which I thought was, again, a slight mistake. So here I took. And then if he plays queen takes, I have b4. This will just win the c2 pawn. And, my converting my positions like this has kind of been one of my weaknesses I need to improve on, so I'm not going to say for sure I would have won this game, but I should win this position, I believe. So he played knight takes e2 for this reason. And then I castled here. So I had to assess, of course, that my king will be safe. The rook on f3 was an attacking idea. But I don't see, it doesn't look easy for him to get his pieces over to the king side. I mean, he could try like knight g3, but I have the h5 square protected. Even if the bishop trades off, the other knight will take its place and guard h5. And it didn't look like the queen could really get over here with the knight on f6. So I figured with the knight on f6 and this knight on d7, my king position was fine. And I think my idea is pretty simple, just to try to open up the center with d5 at some point. Alright, so bishop f2, which I thought was another mistake. And then I think I did a real good job this tournament playing patient chess, so like rook a c8 would have been a good patient move. I was a little concerned though, I looked at this move. I was a little concerned about rook c3. I guess I was too worried about this, and then queen b7 was actually a good square for the queen that I considered many times during the game. I never ended up playing it, but I thought queen b7 was nice just to attack this e4 pawn. So like I said, after pawn advanced to f4 and now f5, this e4 pawn is pretty weak. Only defended once, and then if you have to like move a knight to c3 or g3, defend it again, and then maybe knight c5, and it's hard to defend this pawn. So I rejected rook a c8 on account of rook c3. I played knight g4, which I thought was a good move. After the game, my opponent, even though he lost, he said he thought this move was a little slow, it wasted a lot of tempo just to get the bishop. But I thought the bishop on f6 on f2 was very important. The king's on the diagonal of this on the a7 g1 diagonal, and I thought if I get rid of this bishop and still have my dark square bishop, that I could pose a lot of tactical threats. But maybe I was like overly optimistic. So knight c3. I just took knight takes f2. Rook takes. Then I played knight f6. So his idea was to swing the knight into d5. If after knight takes f2, he plays knight to d5 here, it's just too slow. I just take the queen, and then knight takes b2 is fine, and then my knight could easily get to c4 or a4. And it looks like I just have two pieces for a rook, and an extra pawn. So this is yeah. So he didn't opt for this variation, so he just took on f2. So I was real happy when I won this bishop, but apparently I shouldn't have been so happy. There's nothing too great about it. So I played knight d5 or knight f6, and my opponent played knight d5. And then my first instinct was actually to play queen b7 here, but I wasn't too sure. I wasn't too sure what would happen after this position, for example. So the computer's showing I'm slightly advantageous, but I think this should be a drawn position. I can't. I don't think this is like a forced win with best play from black. I think white holds this if they play well. So I thought that just taking. Oops. I thought just taking here was a wise decision, and the reason why I decided to go with this variation is I thought the e5 passed pawn could be strong in the endgame at some point, and I thought the pawns on d5 and f5 were fairly weak. So I think I was too optimistic again, but I like my position here. Computer showing as equal. I thought I was the only one playing for a win here. Of course, the knight e4, the e4 square is a nice square for the white knight potentially, but I thought I should win this position. No, win's not the right word. I thought I should be the only one with any winning chance in the position, I should say. So I played bishop g5, queen f3, queen b6. So basically the idea behind bishop g5 was to play bishop e3, and my opponent stopped that with queen f3. So now I'm renewing the threat of playing bishop e3 with the queen on b6, and the rook is still pinned, so this rook on f2 can't do anything for the moment. So king h1 to get out of the pin. And this was really the crucial decision of the game, I think. I didn't really want to give up the bishop for the knight, but I didn't see any other way to make any progress except for doing that. So I guess bishop e3 might be playable, but I thought that taking on d2 was the better move. But they look pretty comparable according to the computer. Rook takes d2, and here I think I might be getting like decent positional play. I think positional play I could still work on. My tactics are probably the better part of my game. But I played f6 here, and I think this is an interesting decision. One, it makes my light squares very weak, so I have to account for that. Make sure that this is an okay weakness to incur on myself. But another thing, I stop white from advancing their pawn to f6, and I make it very hard for them to get the g5 push in. And f6 also opens up defensive ideas along the 7th rank for me, so I could put my rook on f7 or my queen on the 7th rank, or rook a7 for example. And my position, I think I should be able to hold this. So I always have to be kind of careful though of this, just making sure that my light squares aren't too weak. But of course my opponent doesn't have their light square bishop anymore, so I thought this was a risk I could incur. Alright, so here my opponent plays rook d3, which I think is a bad move. So I guess his idea is probably to play queen h5, rook g3, and then of course threaten sacrificing ideas on or not sacrificing, just grabbing the pawn on h6. And if I play king h7, then that's obviously terrible. Queen g6 check. If I play king h8, I think rook takes g7 is playable, and then queen g6 with perpetual. So say I play some. Well, hopefully you can visualize. We'll just say I play some stupid. Yeah, so something like this, and then of course you can see this perpetual. So that's basically the only idea I could see with rook d3, but I didn't really care for this move too much. So I played rook ac8. And I'm going to have to be careful. So again, if he plays queen h5, I believe I have time in this variation. This is actually pretty... this is pretty cool actually. I think I could even play queen f2 here. Oh no, never, I'm sorry, same perpetual idea. So yeah, I have queen c7. And then if queen takes h6, the queen's fantastic for defense. So looks like I mean this would have been risky in the game. I think I would have had to take some time to calculate this, of course. And then I guess the idea is that there's really nothing that white doesn't really have time to do anything. It looks like there's no real more threats really. Of course, you can't like bring the rook to h3, otherwise you just take the queen. So it's really hard for white to really do anything with this nice position like this. And it looks like I wonder if you could even try this move. I mean, if you play here, then queen takes f6 looks playable, but can I go away with that? The idea is just to trade off the heavy artillery on the with rook c1 check. But let's say even rook c8, it looks like king h2 solves a lot of the problems anyway. So computer's showing queen f7 just to take the d5 pawn, and then looks like if rook d1, I'm guessing just rook takes a2 looks good. And then these pawns probably start marching up. Yeah, rook a4 is a nice move to trade off the rook first. Obviously, if you take, then I take the queen, so get the queen out of there. Queen a7. So yeah, this would have been tough. Kind of even like, does rook f4 work? If you take here, then well, I guess you could take here. Queen f4. F7. And then what's this move? Oh, I'm sorry, the pawn at e5 is guarding queen. Okay. I guess that's what happens when you play chess for 5 days or 4 days in a row. So yeah, I mean, I was worried about this though. This was a lot to see. I just felt intuitively I could hold this, but I wasn't. You know, I was a little worried, to be honest, about queen h5. I mean, I couldn't see all the lines. I saw enough. I thought that after queen takes h6 and rook g3 and queen takes h6, I thought I could hold. I thought I would be better still, but I didn't see everything. Anyway, though, my opponent kind of played passively, which I was relieved. So he played rook c3, and I think from here the game was he collapsed pretty quickly. So I think he was maybe getting tired or something, or he was also getting into time pressure. He kept asking me. It's funny, like I don't have really good like instincts at poker still, because I don't play it that much. But chess I play so much, and I have so many years of experience that my instincts are good. I can pick up on things real quickly, and this was probably obvious, maybe even a trivial example. But he kept asking me around this time. He's like, "Well, did I put the increment on the clock?" I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Did I set the time control yes correctly?" I was like, "Yes." So I could tell obviously that he was feeling the time pressure already. So I mean, maybe when I first started playing chess, I wouldn't have thought too much about it. I was like, "Oh, he's just asking to ask." But again, it might be like a trivial example, but it seems like now I'm like, oh, he must really be worried about getting the time pressure in this position. So anyway, so I found a nice move. I thought queen d4, and I think this just wins probably all variation. Or yeah, I think this is basically winning position now. So he played rook d1, which I was anticipating, or I looked at, of course. So I took here first, and the idea is pretty simple. If he takes, I'm just going to win a rook. If he tries to I mean, the rook's not trapped by any means, so if he goes rook d1, I could just take the f5 pawn, or rook f2. I got lots of ideas. So for me, though, of course, bishop takes c3 is basically forced. He didn't play that. I'll show you. But I played queen c. I was planning on playing queen c4 here, and then I think the a2 or c3 pawn are going to drop. For example, if he tries like rook a1, just rook c3. And then and this is pretty simple. And then there's no way to guard that d5 pawn. So yeah, this is just easily won. I mean, the way my tournament went, I can't say easily won, but I should win that, of course. So he took with the queen, which I was pretty shocked about. And so I was like, okay, maybe this will be one of those tournaments where my opponents blunder a lot, which always helps to have a little bit of fortune as far as moves that are much worse than your opponent would typically make on your side. I know when I won the Reno tournament in 2006, I had a couple of examples of that where my opponents just made really terrible moves. So yeah, so I took on D1 of course, and then my opponent resigned. Uh, so yeah, first round in the books. I think it was a pretty. I thought for this level it wasn't an overly complicated game. It felt pretty straightforward. I don't think I faced too much difficulty over the board. So yeah, I was pretty happy with round one, and yeah, I mean you can't really ask for a better start to the tournament than winning as black in round one against a decent player. So anyway, this is Ryan Phillips signing off for game one, and I'll be sure to post game the subsequent games. I should be able to do 1 through 5 today. I don't have my score sheet for games 5 and 6, but I remember game 5 offhand. Game 6 against Todd was very emotional pressure game, and it went a lot of moves. So there was some point around like move 30 or 35. I couldn't remember the exact move order. It was also because there was like he kept checking me back and forth. Todd, like he had a perpetual if he wanted it in that game. So it's real hard to remember the moves when it's kind of going back and forth over and over. Anyway, though, thanks for watching. I'll post game 2 shortly. Thank you.